Good to see you, everyone. My name is Robbie Howell. It's been a while, and since you last saw me, there was a whole ass DLC teased. And what's more, it looks very similar to some of the builds that I have done recently and not so recently. So, since a bunch of you have asked me over in Discord, I thought it might be fun to go through the two teaser images that we have and give my quick and dirty thoughts on them. Mostly because I actually think this DLC, just based off of these two loose screenshots, could end up being very good, assuming it is correctly priced. And of course, of note, I'm sure many people have made these same comments many times before. I've not been keeping up with the discourse particularly well. For me, this is mostly going to be a victory lap, because, man, I fucking called it for so much of this stuff. But many other designers have called this stuff too, and frankly, a lot of them were not particularly hard calls to make. Let's dive in. First of all, camel catapults. Is that the Boshi Juan? This was on my recent Tangut build. Go take a look at that up here. I had it as a secondary unique unit available at the Siege Workshop, which I think is still abundantly possible given that we see another distinctly unique unit in this screenshot as well, though it could end up being a regional. Before I get to that though, I wanted to mention that yes, the whole camel catapult thing does look kind of ridiculous, I know, but the one historical text that references this, the History of Song, does not give a good idea of how this thing actually worked. And I think that what they've gone with here of like a little traction trebuchet balance between two camels is actually one of the more viable ideas I've seen for how to implement this thing. Certainly better than my crappy mock-up. I actually give this an A+. Nicely done. Hopefully the mechanics bear it out. Next thing that I notice are these rider guys right here. To me, assuming, because obviously this is the targets we're looking at. There's nothing else that could possibly have camel catapults. But these rider guys, assuming they are not a regional, which to me they do not look like, are probably Iron Sparrowhawks. This is I'd say, the obvious unique unit for the Tanguts, and to me it's mostly a question of whether it ends up being like a Step Lancer upgrade or a Castle unique unit. I could see it going either way, but either way, I think they nailed the aesthetics. They look really beautiful, and I hope they end up having some really cool unique mechanics. So far, for what is obviously the Tanguts here, I'm really liking what I am seeing. Moving over, we have another delightful little surprise here, a Fire Lancer. This could totally be a regional. My guess is they won't make it a regional, but it totally could be, and I'd like to see it as one. I like that they've gone with the more conservative idea of what a Fire Lance was, namely a spear that also could shoot a short-range burst of projectiles. It'll probably end up being a melee unit with a ranged charge attack that only fires at very close range, which is great, because I've wanted a melee unit with a ranged charge attack forever, and that'll be a great asset for modders. I think it looks, again, the aesthetics are great. They nailed the medieval Chinese aesthetics here. I'm sure that someone who's more versed in it than I could comment on some inaccuracies, but I think overall it's miles ahead of the other skins we have right now in game in terms of representing East Asia properly, and so I'm very glad to see it. And it could end up having some very cool mechanics, again, hoping it's a regional. Next thing that I see up here, what do we have here? Many would call it a huacha, but since this is clearly representing, I'm guessing, actually, I'm going to say that this Fire Lancer dude, this is going to be a regional, because this is 100% a Tangut castle. Brilliantly done, actually using the only Tangut ruin that we really have like a good grasp of, namely the walls of Karahoto, to actually translate it into a pretty nice looking castle that actually has proper Chinese roof aesthetics, unlike the current East Asian skin, which is very distinctly Japanese. I think this is beautiful. It looks really awesome, and it shows me that this is some sort of Tangut versus Tangut battle. So this is absolutely a regional unit, and it means that this guy right here is not a huacha, it is a regional rocket cart unit. They might call it the Nest of Bees. I think rocket cart would be a more appropriate, like, universalizable name, with something like a Nest of Bees being a unique Chinese equivalent, and then of course the huacha being a unique Korean equivalent. I would love to see the Koreans getting a unique huacha upgrade to a rocket cart regional. I did propose a huacha unique unit on my Koreans build. Go take a look at that up here. I was really happy with that design because it ended up being like a siege Chukonu. And I'd really be curious to see if they end up implementing it in the same way, because I think it would be a good use of the game's existing kind of like Chukonu mechanics, which are like kind of underused. Pretty much only that unit works in exactly that way. So it would be cool to see another unit work that way. And it's great to see. I actually, okay, obviously I didn't put this in a video, so I can't take credit for it, right? But I did actually really want to put out a video discussing the rocket cart as a regional East Asian unit, with the Hwacha being like a Korean-specific variant. So while you have to take my word for it, I did think of this idea, and I think it's a great idea. Similarly with the Fire Lancer thing here. I proposed kind of a similar idea with my Eruptor regional unit. I put this out in my my Koreans build and talked about it further in my Manchurian Legacy DLC proposal. Go take a look at that up here, which is, of course, the closest parallel we have to the teasers we're seeing. But my Eruptor idea was going with a later gunpowder design, a more proto hand cannon, which was still called a Fire Lance in some sources, but was more properly a hand cannon, and was translated in some sources as being an Eruptor, which sounded like a very cool name. But I'm kind of glad that they went with this earlier, like, proto-gunpowder variant, mostly because it represents the time frame of the Tunguts much better, so if you're going to give it to them, it has to be that. And also because it would fit the earlier Jin Empire much better. The Jin did not use Eruptors, and my inclusion of the Eruptor on my, like, revised version of my Jurchen's build was more in reference to the Proto-Qing Dynasty Jurchens, which would come at the very tail end of the AoE2 time frame, and as such, I actually think this is like a more appropriate time frame to focus on. For those of you who are new to the channel and are wondering why the hell I'm focusing on this crap, it's because that's kind of my thing. Historical pedantry within the context of Age of Empires 2. If nothing else, I'm consistent about it. These donkeys right here are actually quite interesting to me. Like a new roaming donkey unit might just be scenario eye candy, but I like the idea. Again, gives modders more stuff to play with, gives scenario designers more stuff to play with. Let's see, anything else from this first screenshot? Some new yurts, or maybe they're not new. Again, I haven't been keeping up. Maybe those new yurt skins are old news. They look beautiful though. I absolutely, just look at those things. That's gorgeous. Really, really nicely done. Okay, you guys know me. I am very willing to be critical of Age of Empires 2, even though I love the game. Thus far, again, just on pure aesthetics, and just on, like, what historical authenticity I can piece together from what I'm seeing, this is looking good. Like, the Mountain Royals, I did not like for an abundance of reasons. I thought that the Georgians were great, and it was good to see the Persians revised, but the Armenians were a disaster, and there was plenty of things I didn't like about it. This looks awesome, and assuming it is not priced unreasonably and actually gives us a good amount of content, I will fully be happy to say that this was a great DLC. But again, cannot say for sure until we see much more. And speaking of seeing more, let's take a look at the next teaser image. There's definitely more to see here. For example, this absolutely lovely Chinese-style castle. This one, I am guessing, is a proper reskin for the Chinese. Oh yeah, there's a Chukonu right the fuck there. Oh, there you go. So nicely done. Thank God. Like I said, the current East Asian skin is so Japanese. Just like, look at this. This is such a Japanese aesthetic, and it's beautiful, and it fits the Japanese very nicely. But it's not Chinese. This is a way more appropriate for medieval China. Given that my most recent, was it my most recent one? I think it was yeah. Jeez, I'm losing track. The Tangrun build that I just did, go take a look at that up there, which focused on like early medieval China. I learned a lot about Chinese like architecture and design, and even though this is like I think a little later than Tangrun, this is like very nicely authentic within the limitations that Age of Empires presents. Could like an architectural expert like pick out details about it that are a bit hackneyed? I'm sure, but to me, this is a huge step up. I like it. Oh, is this new? Wait a second. See these little like lantern-y things? Is that just like scenario eye candy? There's one here too. Is that just scenario eye candy? Have those been there forever, or am I dumb? This bell looks new too. Or maybe I've just been like not looking at the skins enough recently. You guys tell me. Is this old news? This is fun too. This little sedan guy over there. Clearly a hero unit. I like it. Again, if nothing else but for scenario eye candy. I'm going to guess that this sucker right here is just a fortified tower. Again, that might have existed for a while and I just don't know. That's a dragon boat, of course. We've had those for a while. And let's see what else there is to find. Ah, there we go. We have over here. Now, here's where it gets interesting. I had someone ask me on a PM what these were. These right here, you see these like funny iron balls? Let me get my mouse up. You see these funny iron balls right here that this guy's holding? What's that? Those are grenades, which tells me that this is 100,000% the Jurchens. I would be very surprised if this was not the Jurchens. Also, you see like explosions going off everywhere over here. It's totally the Jurchens. Why? Because while both the Jurchens and the Song dynasty were known for using grenades during the Jin-Song Wars, the Jurchens, I feel, have like established way more of like a modern pop history identity of using them. They're cool as hell, and also I think it's extremely unlikely that AoE2 would add a Song dynasty civilization, much though I would love it and think they deserve it. So yeah, this is for sure the Jurchens. I did a grenade unit for them on my build for them as well, though I had mine be mounted, and I think it's kind of a flavor fail to not have it be mounted, but whatever. There is, admittedly, no evidence for them using them mounted, actually, it's not really a flavor fail. It's kind of a flavor fail on me, but whatever. We won't talk about my failures yet. So then they also have the rocket cart thing. Great, totally deserve it. I'm betting the Chinese will as well, though in this they have just a siege onager. Did the Chinese get Siege Onager? Might just be a scenario-specific thing, but it would be cool to see them get it, given that they were the, pioneers of siege technology throughout most of history. That would be pretty cool. It's so dumb that they missed Siege Onager. I get it, balance, whatever, but still, it's dumb. So yeah, what else do we have? Got these cool, like, weapon rack things on the tents. That's nice. And I am not seeing any more clues here. Got some trebuchets. Wow, look at this really cool is that a trebuchet? I wonder when they're going to add those to the game. All right, let's see. Anything else? Anything else of note? Oh, I see. Wait a sec, guys. Guys, this is important. These fish are historically inaccurate. Anyways, moving on. I think that's all that I'm seeing for now. So, major takeaways. 100% Jurchens. 100% Tanguts. I mean, Tanguts without a shot. 99% Jurchens, 1% Song or whatever. And then, or like the Chinese getting a grenadier, which would be cool, admittedly. So pardon me. 100% Tanguts, 99.9% Jurchens, and then almost certainly a Chinese rework, giving them the new castle and siege onager maybe, and hopefully refocusing them on a tighter historical time frame, and with luck getting multiple Chinese civilizations. That would be awesome. Though I'm sure a lot of people would say, oh, but the Tanguts and Jurchens are Chinese. No, they're not Chinese. Shut up. No, in game right now they'd probably be represented as Mongols, and that would also be inaccurate. But I don't think it would be disingenuous to say this is a Chinese split. It is not a Chinese split. The Chinese deserve to be split properly. Because they have such a vastly rich and beautiful history that cramming it all into a single civilization is not sufficient. But I'm really liking what I'm seeing. From this history pedant's perspective, all that I'm seeing here, all the subtle cues being laid out by the developers are 100% in a direction I love. Now, obviously, the mechanics could be ass, in which case that would be a shame. They could be kind of uninspired designs. That would be a shame. It could be priced super unreasonably. That would be a shame. They could rip us off on the content and only give us like 2 campaigns or some crap. That would also be a shame. But assuming they don't do any of that garbage, just off the pure aesthetics that I'm seeing, I'm excited for this one. And I'm glad to be able to say that. I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you guys think? Tell me down in the comments section. Again, apologize for the leave of absence. I've had a lot going on, working on my game Enclave. Go take a look in the description if you want to learn more about that. And I just recently scheduled a stream coming up on March 9th. So if you'd like to hang with me and chat and listen to me blab for a bit, I'd love to see you there. On that March 9th stream, I'm going to be selecting one viewer build to review as the build of the stream. So if you would like to submit a build for consideration, send it to me via an email. The channel's email can be found via the channel homepage, or even better, send it to me over Discord via PM or in the Post Your Builds thread of my Discord server. Link to the Discord server down in the description below. So yeah, what do you guys think about these teasers? Does it give you hope for the upcoming expansion? Do you think that there's just not enough information yet to determine? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And it's good getting to talk to you all again. I'm hoping that I won't be only posting once a month, though for the foreseeable future it might be that limited. But don't worry, I won't just be doing crappy little scratch-off videos like this. There are more substantive projects planned. But until we get to those, my name is Robbie Howell, and ciao for now.